Welcome back. On his first full day as Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy faced the deadliest U.S. aviation accident in more than 20 years. The midair collision of a commercial jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter over Reagan National Airport here in Washington killed 67 people. And just this week, a flight crash landed in Toronto. All 80 passengers, we are happy to say, survived. Our Kris Van Cleave spoke with the Transportation Secretary about these incidents as well as recent layoffs at the Federal Aviation Administration.
Does it make sense to make cuts at a safety agency that has so much on its plate?
So, first off, this was a Canadian crash, right? American airline. But let me just put it into context.
But there have been 5 incidents in the last 3 weeks.
So let's be clear. Yeah. There's a safety organization, but all the critical safety positions like air traffic controllers and inspectors, all of those positions have been protected. No one's been fired. Actually, we're hiring into those spaces, not cutting, hiring.
Will there be future rounds of cuts?
Listen, there could be. I'm not sure at the FAA, but I think across government. The president's made it clear he wants a more efficient government, a smaller government, a more responsive government. So we'll see how that impacts DOT and FAA specifically.
Does that make it harder to hire some of those safety critical positions?
No. Listen, people want to work. Listen, people are mission driven, right? So we're a safety organization, as you mentioned. People want to work in this building, in the towers across the country. They have to get trained up. But no, I think there's a real drive to be part of the mission. This, again, going back to safety, I think DOT had a lot of priorities that wasn't safety. We're bringing it back to safety, and I think people are motivated by that and want to come in and be part of the movement.
How do you avoid the potential conflicts of interest with Elon Musk, given that SpaceX is regulated by the FAA? He's been critical of the FAA, and his companies are a big user of FAA-controlled airspace. Yeah, so I was very conscious of anyone who comes in. I don't want to see conflicts of interest. So he was talking to air traffic controllers, didn't plug into the system, but looked at the terminals that they use, the technology that they use, asked them, had a back and forth about what works well for you, what doesn't work well. And they spoke freely about these are the problems that we have. And so it was nothing about the way that SpaceX uses the airspace. It was about how do controllers do their job, what kind of technology do they have. And so again, not plugging in, not deciding policy at the FAA. It's, again, how can we improve the technology around the stations that you use to control the airspace? Is there any indication that you've seen so far that DEI practices factored into this accident?
In which one?
The DC one, but in any.
I'll be specific on things that I want to talk about. I don't want to. There's some spaces I don't want to go into, but I'll just tell you that the one DEI office that DOT had was at FAA. That's now gone. There was a lot of practices that were in place. There was focus on language at the FAA. We had to change the phrase cockpit to flight deck. They changed notice to airman to notice to air mission. Focusing on language as opposed to focusing on safety goes to show you that people didn't understand the mission, that we keep people safe here.
Our Kris Van Cleave with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.